All right, welcome back to the AfriCanadian Resource Center. Tonight we have a program that is very unique in terms of what we've been bringing you. We've been looking for somebody in fashion, or at least somebody who has an idea of what's going on in fashion. And tonight we have that for you. We have somebody that actually works to sort of curate all of the work within the fashion industry and food as well as culture for the Afro-Canadian community. So that's coming for you in a few minutes. But as we do every night, we're going to obviously bring you news, tell you what's going on. Obviously, the most we have these days is mostly COVID. And we're going to start with Toronto, where we're hearing that Toronto was the only virus hotspot in the province to see a significant jump in daily COVID cases on Tuesday. And today we learned that we have a new number, which is 827 new confirmed cases in Ontario, with 355 who were in Toronto, a 26% spike over of the 281 cases that were reported in the city on Monday. Also, four people also passed away on Tuesday from COVID-19, bringing the total number of deaths in Ontario to 3,103. Today, we're also learning that patients with COVID-19 symptoms have to call one of the province's 153 assessment centers and speak to a nurse practitioner before making appointments for the swab. And the province has obviously made this announcement because they're thinking, the province is saying that this change would better prepare the assessment centers for the winter months and would eliminate any frustration from low-risk residents who have been denied test. So obviously this is a new measure, and we know that every day we are getting new cases. Obviously this is what we just mentioned. So to at least give people the opportunity to set up the appointments that can actually come faster. Because the other thing you remember is people are going to work. People are still going to work, and the delays can also cause a lot of loss in wages or whatever the case. So it's good to sort of stay on top of this, making sure that everybody is covered. And so again, I think the province of Ontario has responded really well for those of you in Ontario. And for the ones outside across Canada, we hope that your provinces are doing as much work as what we've been able to see here in Ontario. Also, the other news right now here in Toronto, we have a story of a local man, a Toronto man, who started building the mobile shelters during his spare time in late September. And he did this in response to what has been described as the worsening homeless crisis caused by COVID-19 pandemic. And what he says the shelters as a safe and temporary alternative for people who would otherwise be sleeping in tents or under the trap blankets. So we're going to give you a bit of what he said in his own words.
This is the window I've been using. It's just a basement casement window.
It doesn't look like much yet, but Khalil Seavright says this little structure is sturdier than you might think.
This is the normal bat insulation you would find in any house.
He's been building these shelters in his Cabbagetown workshop for about a month now. When they're done, he looks for people living outside in tents and asks if they'd like an upgrade.
I've never seen so many people staying outside in parks, and it's like, this is something I could do to make sure whoever's staying outside in the winter would be able to do it, like, survive.
He's delivered 2 so far, one of them to a man named Richie who lives near Lakeshore Boulevard.
Yeah, he just started laughing, and he offered me money. He's like, how much is it going to cost? He said, how much is it going to cost? And I said, oh, people are donating money so I can do this, so I can give it to you for free.
Mr. Seavright is paying for most of the project, as you heard, is paying largely through his fundraising that he has online. So if you really want to support the work that he's doing, if you're interested in pushing his efforts, at the moment I think they are at 2,500, probably more because he's been covered through local news. If you're interested in supporting, you can go to his GoFundMe page. It is gofundme.com/f/toronto-tiny-shelters/donate. And you'll be able to actually support his effort and, you know, help the homeless, because that's another thing we never think about, what the homeless are going through here in Toronto. Obviously across Canada, once again, what homeless people go through, especially now during the winter months. We're thinking about the COVID, the pandemic, and everything like that, but we never really think about the people that are sleeping in tents, people who are sleeping outside what they must be going through. So we really commend Mr. Say It Right for the work that he's doing, but also let's support him. Let's push with the where it counts with the money. So yeah, please go ahead and do some support if you can. The other piece of news that we have for you today is from it's the international news. I wouldn't say international because it affects us. Today, there's an announcement that Ngozi Iweala is to be the new Director General of the World Trade Organization, and which is obviously a tremendous boost for Africa, and lines her up for one of the toughest jobs in the international system. And of course, this is something that we thought we need to cover because obviously we want to know what's going on. She's an African woman that's stepping up. Let's see what she had to say.
Okonjo Iweala is a former foreign and finance minister in the continent's largest economy, a former number 2 at the World Bank, and could become the first African and first woman to lead the organization.
You asked me, why am I the most qualified? Let me just say a very quick word. I'm a reformer. The WTO needs reforms. My reform credentials are clear. I have strong political skills to be able to bring members together. I have managerial experience from the World Bank. I've been a minister for 7 years, the longest serving finance minister in my country. And I'm also working right now at the intersection of public health and trade. So if you put all this together, I think I'm the candidate for the time.
That's a challenge for Madam Ngozi, and we really hope that she can succeed. Obviously, one of the things that many of our leaders, especially African leaders, we are also looked at as every time we step into these kinds of positions, it's not just to do the norm. You have to outdo everybody else, because there is always the idea that Africans, you know, because of our challenges at home, there is always like the spotlight on us. So we really hope for the best. We hope that she can do a good job. Obviously, the World Trade Organization is influential across the globe, and let's really hope she can also change some of the work that has been done, make it better for our people, but also globally. So all the best to you, and we look forward to seeing what you do, and we hope for the support, obviously, along the way. Anyways, so that's a bit for what we wanted to do on the news tonight. We're going to bring you the interview, our interview tonight with our special guest tonight. And yeah, so let's go for a commercial, and we'll come back on the other side with the interview.
A message from the Government of Canada.
One of the reasons why the AfriCanadian Resource Center was established, one of the reasons why we were funded by the Government of Canada through Red Cross, is because there is a need for African Canadian communities to be connected, to understand and to know what is taking place, what's going on in the community, to really bring together resources, connect members, connect leaders, connect businesses, and to make sure that we know, we understand the issues, we understand the challenges, but we can also bring forward solutions. That's one of the reasons why the AfriCanadian Resource Center was thought about. That is why we brought it forward, and that is why we believe it was funded. And because of that, tonight's guest, the person that I'm speaking to, who is also pretty much doing the similar work as what we're doing, but focusing more on the fashion, on food, and the culture, and really put a smile on my face, and obviously made me really happy to know and to see that there is more work being done in this area. And so without further ado, take it away with my interview with Yvonne Ben. All right, so Yvonne, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you making the time to talk to us. We've been like trying to find people in fashion, and finally we found someone that can actually give us not more than just fashion. Obviously, you do more on culture And we really want to have that understanding. First, let our audience know your name and what you do in the community.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yvonne. I run an online platform called TheKscope. Our goal is to find African experiences in your city and to curate a really great list for patrons of the culture to find and enjoy. So our goal pretty much is for people to experience Africa locally.
Okay, so let me ask you this because I'm interested. I am African. I have lived in Toronto for 20 years now. I don't know that many places, and this is one of the challenges we've had for this program, finding people in the community, whether it's non-for-profit businesses and so on and forth. I don't know that many places that I can go for just like fun after certain hours. Like if people came to you, this is what they would find on your platform, or do we have to reach out to you to get this information?
So that's pretty much what TheKscope is. TheKscope would be for you in this case. Right now, we are creating a really great user experience platform where people can go on there and search from their locations and actually find these experiences. So for you, you would pretty much just go on our website, search within, a specific radius of where you're standing, and then you can see African fashion houses around you, African food restaurants around you. But right now, with everything happening, most of these places are closed down. So the goal pretty much would be that. We are working on more of a shopping directory. So for people like yourself, Lecam, who would pretty much go on there and search and find these experiences.
No, amazing, and it's definitely something that is needed. As we thought about bringing an African Canadian Resource Center, one of the challenges was like really identifying who are the continental African Canadians, because I think sometimes we get lost in the Black experience, right? What has been the challenge for you when you began this? Maybe actually tell us, when did you begin working on this platform, and what has been the challenge for you to sort of identify who are Africans versus Black, and what has been your journey?
So initially, when I started when I was in university in Sudbury, Ontario. Back then, Sudbury did not have a lot of African representation with like food, with like businesses. So people would normally actually have to drive all the way to Toronto, get like African groceries, and come back to the city. So what I decided to do was that anytime an African business opened up, or anytime there's an African event or some sort of initiative, I would be first on the scene. I would be letting people know that, listen, this has just opened up. You don't have to move. You don't have to travel all the way to Toronto. So that was the goal. There was that need initially. Then moving to Toronto, it really wasn't hard, separating or differentiating Black businesses, from African businesses, because pretty much they are one in a whole. One, like the category is more of race, and then the other one is more of culture. So I would just pretty much find these businesses that cater to the African culture, and they're mostly Black owned, meaning that the owner of the business is Black. So it wasn't really hard differentiating, because I was like, I pretty much gravitate like towards like these businesses like that are African owned. So fashion and food, I would just be looking for them. It really wasn't a hassle, because I love food. I always loved fashion, so I'm always keeping an eye out. And it's been great so far, because there are lots and lots of new African food businesses, new African fashion businesses, that I'm finding every day. So I feel like it's been a really steady and easy journey.
And how was, because I'm sure you knew I was going to ask this question, speaking about Black Panther and the experience of what Black Panther has done as far as fashion in Canada, in America, and globally. How has that changed the way people look at African fashion here in Canada?
I feel like the trend for African fashion, was recently. Like I feel like even before Black Panther and with Black Panther pretty much was that like catalyst that propelled African fashion, because people were like, oh my goodness, getting access and being aware of these creative fashion designers that, were featured in the movie, right? So it's been, I would say, a trend that everyone's hopping on. Like the prints are so colorful, especially in the summertime, and they're eccentric, right? So I would say Vakata definitely played like a really big role in propelling, the drive and the need and the excitement about African fashion. I would say it's just now a lot more people are more aware of it because a lot of designers, a lot of celebrities have been wearing them, have been rocking them, have been, promoting them. So right now, I would say the world sees African fashion and they love African fashion. What my goal pretty much is just to let people know that they are actually African owned designers, which you should, patronize, because a lot of people are seeing African print being portrayed and being promoted and sold by non-African houses. Like, I can't remember, there was a really famous one time where they were selling the African print. They had made some clothes, and then they were selling for, I think, about $1,000 a piece. So people were super confused. It's that steals away from, the industry, right? Support African businesses. If you're looking to buy African fashion, our goal is to make sure that we find reputable brands that people can actually invest in. Because a lot of times people feel like, African businesses have been, they're like, when African business, when people talk about it, it's synonymous with, disorganized or, really bad reputation. But my goal is to pretty much let people know that not every business is that way. Not every African-owned business is that way. And a lot more, actually, a really big percentage of African businesses right now are reputable. They're really good. They provide quality. Their services are top-notch. And you should invest and you should patronize them. So our goal is to bring that curated list to consumers to say, listen, you can, support Black businesses, African businesses through the TheKscope.
No, I'm
I hope I
seriously like
answered.
just no, you did. Just listening to you. One of the things I'm gonna do. We've just come close. Like I didn't know. Like a lot of I'm learning a lot of this. One of the things I'm loving about this program is I'm learning a lot of our community as I actually reach out and have these conversations with each of you. And for me, a platform like this is something that I'm interested in personally. And I'm not a big person when it comes to fashion. So imagine somebody who is into fashion, what they're thinking. So absolutely something I want to get into, really understand. Like right now, if I knew African fashion designers, I'll be wearing African fashion designers for this show. So that's something that I need to reach out and really find out who is where, because again, representation is important, but also pride, being able to show that we'll be wearing Italian clothes and all this other stuff, but we know we have good materials. And maybe that's my question for you. What is the best materials for Africa, and are we benefiting from it as fashion designers?
So right now, I do know the material that most designers use is cotton, and wax. So most brands use cotton and wax, and I'm not really tuned into the logistics of things, but I do know that a lot of brands, a lot of businesses, a lot of African-owned fashion houses, when I'm browsing their websites, when I'm getting to know their brands, getting to know the clothing, they do mention that they use cotton or 100% wax, but I would say it's easy for them to, like, I know that probably it's easy for them to find these materials to use. But I wouldn't really, I feel like I shouldn't really comment on it because I really don't know so much about it.
Yeah, and it's not, it wasn't a fair question. Maybe let's put it this way. Speaking to a lot of the designers that you meet across Ontario and Canada, do you sense that they are finding it easy to get to as far as a business, the way they're running their business, or is this still a challenge to compete with the bigger companies to access materials? Is that something you maybe have any information on?
Yes, so the challenge is definitely there. The challenge is definitely there because these brands are, on a completely different playing field. And for us to get to the same level, we need to work twice as hard to make sure our branding is on point, because right now you're selling to a completely different market, you know, coming from Africa where it's everyone wears African fashion. It's very easy. You can just walk into the next store and just buy it. It's different now because you are selling to an audience that, you know, isn't, you know, well versed with what you're selling. So there is that gap already that we need to fill. And I think the best way to do that is to learn, you know, the ways of marketing, right? Learn the ways of marketing, understand what branding and how branding plays a really big role in how people perceive your designs. So trying to understand, get that digital marketing knowledge, because it really helps to sell to an audience that is not used to the clothing. And also, like you said, representation matters. So for me, I'm always wearing African print. It's something that I want people to understand, that you can actually wear it anywhere. You can wear it to work, because a lot of brands now are coming up with designs that you can, you know, rock and wear anywhere. So I'm always on brand, because I want to let people know that, listen, this is not out of place, because, you know, moving here, because of how eccentric the clothing and the prints are, people just want to wear it for like a major event, one time thing, and they don't wear it anymore. And I'm like, but that's you're wasting money, because you might as well, you're investing in these items, you might as well, you know, wear them, you know, as you would wear regular clothes. So we're still on our way to getting to that level where we would be competing with the big brands. But we first of all need to brush up our branding, brush up our marketing, just knowledge, right, about sell. How can you sell, right? Because I mean, their passion is making clothes, but imagine collaborating with someone who understands the mindset of customers, how to sell, right? So it's finding those
branding,
you know,
and marketing.
people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I would say this, my challenge for the African clothes that I've had over the years is the comfort level, you know? I feel like one of the reasons why we go with not even high-end, like just t-shirts, right? The regular t-shirts that we wear, the reason why people wear t-shirts is because they're comfortable. But a lot of the time when you have the tashiti, for example, like when you put it on, it's like tight. You can't really do much. You just there, like, you know? And I feel like that's my challenge. How can we get, or maybe there is a one company or two that exists that actually creates something that is comfortable, that you could actually chill in a couch on, you can go out with, you know what I mean? Those kind of stuff. That's really what I'm looking for. And I feel like the tashitis and those are not stuff that you can actually be comfortable in. And it's probably why people wear them for events and they put them on the shelf, right?
I would say yes, to answer your question. There are lots of brands right now that have actually created African print that's comfortable, African print that you can wear, African fashion that you can actually sleep in. So I would say not to worry. We will get you sorted out at the TheKscope. We'll connect you with these brands so that you can find the clothing that is comfortable, because it's very annoying having to wear something and then you're just so uncomfortable. It's tugging, it's tight, like, you know, so, and the material sometimes too can be uncomfortable, and I completely understand. I think our goal is pretty much to just get rid of that narrative by providing people with businesses that make comfortable clothes. We want to make clothes like I want to make African fashion mainstream, right? And to make it mainstream, that means we need to understand what people can wear, how it's gonna feel, right? Is it gonna? Do I have to do so much when I get the clothing? Am I taking it to a seamstress, or is it just gonna fit me properly? So it's gonna take some time. It's gonna take, you know, getting to that level, then, you know, interacting with customers, seeing how people respond to the clothing, also learning from other brands as well, how they've been doing it, and then making sure that we can create clothing to fit the masses. So that's our goal right now. We're working towards that. We're gonna get there, probably.
And I promise you, if that's the journey you're on, I will join you, whether it's through this platform or my other works that I do. I'm in marketing also, you know, done film production. So that's an area that I'm really interested in, promoting African Canadian or African stories. And a part of our story is clothing, part of our story is food, which is obviously the areas that you're focused on. So if that's where we're going, just let me know and I'll join you, because again, I want to make sure that we can compete,
Definitely.
and we cannot compete based on, oh, wear it because it's African. I want to compete because wear it because it's African and it's the best. Like that has to be also there.
Yes, yes, I love that. I actually do love that, and I'm very, very thankful. That you like Afro Canadian reached out, because I didn't even know that you were great at marketing, and it would be really great to actually connect, network, just to know exactly what we're doing, what we're not doing. So you see, it's collaborations like these that actually like help us grow. Right, when we come together, we can do so much, and I'm very, very excited. And I believe like our goal pretty much is to propel Africans. My actually main goal is to make sure that the African business owner succeeds. And that can mean a variety of things. But everyone has their own understanding of what success is. So my goal is to say, hey, how are you doing as a business owner? How can we help you reach your goals? And if this involves exposure or connecting you with the right people like yourself who does marketing, then that's what we're gonna do, right? So I'm excited.
Amazing. That's really good. And talking about the African business owners on the food side, we did visit Danford. There is a lot of East African businesses there. We actually had someone also from the West Africa, from the Ivory Coast. There is a lot of. It seems like Africa is taking over Danford. Like soon, from what I saw, the what's the other community there? There is the Greek community need to watch out for sure, from what I saw. But it's only there, right? It's only in that little corner on Danford East. Do you, having sort of browsed through the city, do you know any other places where we have this kind of development for like African restaurants and African food that people should know about?
Definitely North York for sure. There are lots of restaurants in North York, Brampton, and our pretty much our like we people know that these restaurants are there, but they don't know how close it is. Like how easy is it for me to receive it, to get it, right? Because your friend could be raving about something, and you're like, oh wow, I really want to try that food, and then you Google and you find out it's so far from you, right? So what we're trying to do is just get rid of all of that stress. We're going, like, you can literally, like, with our new platform that we're creating, God willing, you would be able to search from where you are and then find these businesses. And then that's what happens. Then you understand and know that now I can patronize these businesses. And then who knows, you may end up falling in love with them because most of the food is so good. So to answer your question, lots of them are in North York, lots of them are in Brampton. A lot of them are opening up now downtown Toronto, which is really great, right? So definitely most cultures need to look out for us, because for the longest time it was so hard to find African food. Like it was a hassle. Maybe one restaurant you would know, but now there are
Yeah.
lots and lots and lots, which is amazing. Now we just have to
Ah,
make sure that the experience is decent. We want people to, because when you're looking for food on Uber Eats, it's so seamless, right? So we want to make sure that we are enacting the same kind of seamlessness where you can search for African food, where there is no hassle to find the food, and then there's also no hassle to find the fashion, right? So we want to just get rid of all the noise, because noise can be, distracting. If someone comes to your website, they want to buy food, it's so hard for them to understand how to navigate your website that you've lost a customer, right? So our goal is to get rid of all of the noise and make it easy to find the food or find the
so
fashion.
you basically, the scope is serving as a bridge, as a third party bridge, where, and maybe this is, I don't know if this is what you're doing, but I'm looking at it in that sense, where let's say people want to get food, they want to figure out where to get it from. Okay, go to scope. Okay, this is where it's available. But also, are you maybe helping these organizations, these businesses, to be like on places like Uber? Are you helping the magazines to be on places where they need to be, or are you consulting them to do that? What is that relationship for you as a consultant, maybe?
So yes, definitely. We helped a lot of businesses get on Corner Shop. Corner Shop is like an online grocery store, an online platform where you can order groceries from your neighborhood, um,
Mm.
grocery stores. And our goal was to let people know that to understand that, listen, the pandemic is here and it's causing a lot of businesses to pivot and go online. So I had reached out initially. I reached out to someone on Corner Shop. Corner Shop was just recently acquired by Uber, but I reached out to them and said, you know what would be amazing? I had ordered groceries from Walmart. It would be nice if I could order groceries from Walmart and also from my neighborhood African grocery store. And they loved the idea. So it's trying to definitely consulting to get these brands on there so that they can get access to a wide variety of consumers and customers, right? And it's just propelling them, putting them on a stage. I remember when we had announced it on LinkedIn, it was very, very exciting because right when I went on the app, I was able to see Walmart, and then right beside Walmart, I was able to see Sydney African Foods. It was really great because the goal is pretty much to get these businesses on the same playing field, right? To get to give them the opportunity to be leveled and then also to provide services.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly. So we do help with that consulting as well. We're still working on a structure around that because right now we are focusing on creating the best experience platform for these businesses. We want it to be so easy for them because a lot of them don't have online stores, right? So we want to let them know that, listen, you can get your transactions done as easy as possible. All you need to do is go on our website, get your own online marketplace, online storefront, and then you when you're selling on your social media, when you're marketing on social media, people have an easy link to buy your stuff, to buy your food, to buy your fashion. And I think that's the best part because when they lose customers because of how they're placed online, right? How easy is it for me to find you? So we are working on that. We're building this platform. We're also consulting. There are lots of big players, Uber Eats, Uber, Corner Shop, and we say, you know what? We have an opportunity. We can give you a month free, try it out, and get your business out there, right? So we're working on that as well.
And really hope that people actually do listen and take you on that, because to me, another challenge I did, hopefully you can challenge these individuals as you meet them, as I always do also, is we should not be afraid of investing, putting money to, if it's a restaurant or a fashion, make sure that one of the challenges I used to see, like you see how in Africa sometimes you have a restaurant, you just, as long as there's space to cook and you can serve people, you don't really care about the decoration and all of that stuff. But for customers in Canada who are used to walking into high-end restaurants or even like McDonald's, they're really clean, put together, well put together. You've got to, if you're in that class of high-end or you're in the class of fast food, whatever class you're in, or in terms of fashion, the same way, you've got to invest in that presentation. And I think sometimes our people, our community, when we actually start businesses here in Canada, we sort of leave the presentation for like later. And so hopefully you can challenge them to really go to that as well. And if that means they need to bring on a consultant like yourself or someone else, they have to invest in that, because that's the competition. Another person, whether they're African or not, before they walk into your store, once they're in your store, they're not just valuing or rating the food, they're also rating the experience, right?
And I really like that you talked about that, because a lot of these businesses, we all know that capital is the problem. Finding, funding is the problem. So sometimes when they, open up the store, the initial goal is just to sell the food, right? So now I do know that there are a lot of new businesses and business owners who are thinking about, their focus is on presentation. Their focus is on the full landscape of things, not just on selling, right? Because they understand it's a package. I'm not coming to just buy your food. I'm actually coming into your place of if it smells, am I going to feel comfortable buying from you, right? So it's a lot of different things like that, and a lot more people are thinking about that. Someone had even recommended we having a body, a union, some sort of union where our goal would be to make sure that businesses that are out of line, we explain to them the value of, making sure that your presentation is up top notch, making sure that your customer service is brilliant, right? So our goal is to like pretty much work a way around, because a lot of them are much older, and sometimes, like, we're made up of our own experiences. What we've thought was right would always remain right to me, but it may not be right to the next person. So it's trying to then help them understand and help them unlearn that understanding. It's a whole completely different ballgame. So our goal is to, first of all, propel these businesses that have, a really good understanding of how packaging and presentation matters. Our goal is to propel those brands first. And then when people see the value in it, right? They see the value in it and listen, okay, I need to change what I'm doing. Clearly, I'm doing something wrong. That's why I'm not getting as much exposure as the other brand, right? So people only want to do something when they see that there is that value in it. Obviously, the value it doesn't happen in the beginning, but they wouldn't mind watching a brand invest and start, and then look at them and be like, you know what? I've seen how it's worked for them. I'm going to make sure that it works for me too. And they start seeking these consultations and the help, right? We're going to get there. I know we're going to get there, because a lot of us are working and changing the narrative and making people understand that you can actually invest in an African-owned business and not be disappointed. So it's just a matter of time. And, with the many advancements that we have, especially in the Western world, especially here in Canada and in the United States, it would be so easy to implement change, right? So our goal first is to find business owners that are like-minded, business owners that understand the value of perception, understand that perception plays a major role in how people view your business, understand the value of marketing, propel them, and then we let people know that, listen, there are lots of businesses that you can invest in. And then we let, the older businesses, we explain to them that this is the value of doing this. Look at all of our case studies, look at all these businesses and see what they've been able to accomplish. Now, how can we help you accomplish that? So.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. Honestly, I feel like we have a lot to talk about. Just from a marketing perspective, I really would like to connect with you after this. Hopefully we will have time to actually have a phone call or whatever. Because to me, it frustrates me, because we have an opportunity here, right? As Africans, as we come into this market here in Canada, a huge opportunity. We have good products, we have good stories, we have obviously good food. Our culture is the best. But the presentation, we'll get there. I'm with you. I'm the number one optimist on the planet. I believe that. The process sometimes can be slow for me. I'm always like, I'm trying to get there right now. But maybe my last question, for people who are looking for this experience, tell the audience who are looking for an African experience here in Toronto. Also, if you're beyond Toronto, by the way, I've been assuming that you're just here in Toronto and Ontario. Let people know what to look forward to, and what does your actual organization provide, so that way when they come to the platform, they're like, okay, this is what we're looking for. And also, we're talking about what you have coming up, the platform that you're designing.
Okay, so what we're trying to do with the TheKscope is, like I mentioned earlier, to make finding these experiences easy, seamless. We want to take away the stress from you going to Google to search African event, or, African food near me, or, African fashion where I can find the clothing. So what people should expect when they come to the TheKscope, once our site is live, is to expect seamless user experience. It would be so easy for you to find these businesses, being able to go on there, searching from your location. And also, we've added the community link. The community link is just to let people know that, listen, you're moving to a new place. Yes, you're going to find the food. Yes, you're going to find the fashion. Yes, you're going to find the events, but you can also connect with Africans in your city, in the new city. You can connect with people. You're looking for a job. You can, find people who are like-minded. We're creating a hub pretty much. So people should expect a hub. People should expect a platform where you can go and find African food and businesses easily, right? And I can't do it on my own, obviously, because I'm Nigerian, and Africa is a whole beautiful continent, right? With so many different cultures. So we're working, God willing, on building and filling that platform with the best experiences you can find in Toronto. Pretty much like our tagline right now is experience Africa locally, meaning that we find local vendors, we find events in your city, and then we put them on the platform. What is our goal in the future? To make sure that we extend it all over North America, in Canada and in the States, major cities, first of all, we find these experiences and we put it on there. So if I'm traveling to Manchester, if I'm traveling to Houston or New York, and I'm looking for African food there, I would easily just go on the TheKscope app and search and then buy. So that is also the goal. And when you're connecting with these people, it's more so growing, and like the world itself is so, it seems so big, but it's so small. We just have to make sure we find it, because most people find it so hard to find people online, because you find them, you don't know what to expect. But we're curating this whole experience, so it'll be so easy. I can connect with yourself. I can connect with, I can find people and just, make that connection. We're still working on the website. In the meantime, you can find us on our social medias. And I know you call it TheKscope. The K is not silent, so it's 2 syllables. TheKscope. So TheKscope is what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's true. A lot of people say scope, but it's super cool too. I think we're not going to fault anyone, because obviously it is spelled as, is it 2 syllables? Is it 2? I'm going to pronounce it as it can be. Yes.
No, it's funny. I'm looking at it. I don't even know how I didn't put that K in there, but hey, I went with workflows and I was like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, so people should expect to experience Africa locally. They should expect a good database of businesses in their city to patronize, African owned. A lot of people want to support small businesses. They want to support African Black businesses. You're going to be able to do that on the TheKscope, right? And while enjoying some great food and great company, when you're on there. So yes, thank you so much for this. Honestly, this has been a really
amazing.
good opportunity.
Yeah, it really sounds like you and I are on the same mission. For us, we're covering communities, community leaders, activities, really looking for resources. And if we can direct some of the people to your platform and do that the same vice versa, then our job is done. And I think this is why we really do this. We want to find, I didn't know you existed until a few days ago. I'm sure you never knew we existed. We just launched our platform, and amazing that we connected. And by the way, if you have anybody in the community, yourself as well, for people who are looking for resources like funding, shoot us an email. We'll see what we have. Like, for example, today we're sending out an email for people who are interested in funding. Some of our partners are giving up to $25,000, but it's more for non-for-profits. But there is always other ways that we can find. There's a grant that's available for people to apply to. So if you have anybody that's doing non-for-profit, I'm not sure yourself if you're a non-for-profit, we can send you the same information as well. So that's why we're here, to find resources, especially the ones that's focused to continental African Canadians, and making sure that you have access to it. And so really appreciate that you're doing this work, because there is a lot of what you're doing that's going to help our work too. So it's our pleasure to have you here.
It's definitely a pleasure for me to be here, because I definitely know a lot of people who will benefit from what you guys are doing at AfriCanadian. The resources, especially for funding. I do know a couple of non-for-profits, and I think with everything happening back home right now on the continent, so many countries are hurting. So many countries are going through a crisis right now. So I do know a lot of people who would fit into the category you just explained. Thank you so much.
All right, we'll send you the details, and really appreciate you. And you have a good one. Continue to do amazing things. I can't wait to get these foods and this fashion. Next week I might come back with an African suit instead. So looking forward to that.
Right. I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All
right then. Have a good one. Bye.
To storytellers, to product makers, to service providers. Today's challenge is to you. If you're Afro-Canadians, if you're providing services, if you're creating stories, and if you're making products for African Canadians, I want to challenge you to think about the kind of product that you're creating. Not the quantity, but the quality. What level of quality are you giving to the world? Not just to us as African Canadians, but to the world, to Canadians. Because one of the things that I'm finding, and I think if you really look deep down, you know that one of the things that we do is we shortchange the service, the quality, the presentation. And the idea of a story where we really want to go deeper. So if you really tell a story of an African experience, we tend to talk about the surface. We go to the surface level. We don't go deep into the character. When we create a product, we sort of tend to just do something quick enough to just get it to the market. When we are providing services, we open stores, restaurants, and just provide food. What is the presentation? What's going on between what we want and what we provide or what we want to give away? Because when we go out, we want to have good experiences. And good experience includes having, yes, a beautiful meal, but it also includes the feel, the lights around, the ambience. It's not the music only. It's the colors, the flowers, whatever that's included in a restaurant presentation. When you wear a good clothes, a suit, whatever, it's not just the fact that it's made from Africa or by an African textile or whatever. It is also how it feels when you put it on. When you put on a t-shirt, when you put on a sweater, it's how it feels when you're wearing it. It's the same for a story. When we watch a story, I'll give you a good example of Black Panther. It's not just the suits and the culture, it's how the story flows. And I think my challenge to all of us, to storytellers, to product makers, to service providers, specifically here in Canada for AfriCanadians, is I want you to push and dig deeper. And I know it's going to require a budget. It's going to require more of a team in terms of getting it done right. I'm from a background of film production, so I understand what it requires to put together the best story. But we need to go there. We need to dig deeper. We need to find the resources. We need to find the money. We need to find the talent. We need to find the quality of, if you're a fashion designer, we need to find the best quality possible. Made from Africa, made by Africans, sure, but the best. And if it's not available, we need to go even deeper. Innovate, create, be creative about all of these things. But overall, we need to provide the best presentation. Because at the end of the day, when somebody's looking at our product and they are looking at a fashion that is done in let's say, in Turkey or in Italy, and then they compare to something that is done by us, what do you think they're going to look at? And this is also for us as Africans. What are we going to put on? Well, yes, we're going to put on at a shitty when it's a holiday, but overall, we want to wear something that feels good, that wears well. And that's the challenge that I'm giving to all of us. We want to watch a story that moves us. That's the challenge for us. How can we tell stories that move us? How can we put on products that are the best, the top, they're competitive? How can we provide services where people leave wanting to come back? Instead of somebody walking into a restaurant and you give them a cold shoulder, where is that smile? Where is that experience? Where is that music? Whatever that you need to do, you need to do it. You need to be the best. So when I put on my African suit, I'm putting it on, yes, because it's African, but I'm also putting it on because it's the best. That's my challenge to you. Can you create the best that Africa has to offer?